Hello friends, welcome to this video. This is the continuation part of the video on 7th chapter, part 4. In this chapter, we are going to discuss the concluding part of chapter 7 of Karukku by Bama. This video is also part of the discussion of the paper compulsory foundation course in English, the 4th semester English language course of BCA, BSc at Mangalore University. Welcome to this video. In the last video, we see Bama's experience at her as a nun at church, and in this part of the video, we also see the background to become a nun. What plan Bama had in her mind to become a nun. The purpose of becoming a nun is disclosed here. So the very title says here that she wanted to be a very different nun, because we came to know that nuns at the church, as she noticed earlier, were of different type, right? They were actually different. Therefore, from them, compared to them, Bama wanted to be a different nun, and that's why the idea of becoming a different nun comes to Bama's mind. Though Bama was not happy with the church pretense, she still wanted to enter a religious order. Yeah, we came to know even in the earlier chapters that she was not happy at all with the pretense and sham practiced at the church, but still the desire to become a nun and to do some service to her community or the people in distress by entering the religious order was there in Bama. Then we see she wanted to be therefore a different nun compared to them, a nun who can serve people in need, a nun who can serve for the respond to the distress of the people. And as a different nun, Bama had different responsibilities too, because she is the one who witnessed her life of difficulty. She, as a Dalit, experienced all kind of oppressions in society, and it was her role as a nun had to do something for that. Therefore, it was a plan to be a different nun, as she mentions in page number 103 of OUP. So she yearned to treat the unprivileged children differently and save them from torment and exploitation. Yeah, this is the reason she was a different nun, wanted to be a different nun. She never wanted to enjoy the comfort of the church. She never wanted to just stick to the luxurious life of that. Instead, against the way others did, she wanted to be a different, to become a real servant to the needy. She truly believed that Christianity preached love and compassion. Yeah, she believed in the true principles of Christianity, that is to love and compassion towards the people who are helpless, people who are in distress. And nobody supported her plan at home. We can see when she wanted to do these things, and when she had this plan, her family members themselves did not support. They thought she was joking, right? That she wouldn't do all those things. The thing may be because Bama she was serious to become a nun like that, but she did not know what exactly the condition of the church was. She was not even sure what she was doing. Bama write that moment as, I was like one who was falling into a well, blindfolded, right? It was a condition where it was falling into a well, blindfolded, kannu katti bavige biddantaha ondu anubhava agtade. That is what she is trying to describe here. And the disappointment awaited when she entered the religious order. It was not even a happy beginning at all. Of course, it did not give anything, as she mentions in earlier chapters also, the happiness or the right platform to achieve her motto or goals, serving the needy, serving the people in distress. Therefore, she was able to spend only 3 years at the church as a nun. At that time, all her prayers and meditations and thoughts were towards oppressed and exploited people, and towards Jesus who fought for justice, and fairness. Here, I think she is different nun. She is the one who, unlike others, dedicated her time, whatever it may be a 3-year term. Still, she dedicated that time to the oppressed and the exploited people who have been under exploitation for ages. And also, she dedicated herself to the service of God, that is Jesus in that context, who fought for justice and fairness. So thus we find a true practice of the principles, the real principles of the religion can be seen in Bama. Because any religion for that matter that preaches or teaches righteousness, right way of life, and even Christianity, you observe that here. Then she talked to others about her convictions, and however she found that they were all play acting with no match between what they say and what they do. This is what we consider hypocrisy or pretense. They were doing something and they were saying something. The principles were just to say. The ideas, the projection of themselves as something great, but they were actually doing something else. That's what the gap between their words and deeds that she witnessed in her life. She adds here, I never cared to survive by acting out a role. Yeah, she says she never cared to survive there, acting out a role. She did not want to play any role. She wanted to be that, right? That is the thing. Bama was sent to prestigious school where students from affluent families studied. When she joined convent, that was the thing. She was actually, instead of giving her opportunity to serve the poor, she was placed in a wealthy context, people built from wealthy families, and that is again utter difference she witnessed. She mentions critically here that and the Jesus they worshipped, there was a wealthy Jesus. Yeah, this is the ironical remark she makes here. They were worshipping the wealthy Jesus, not the Jesus one who responded to the poor people or the distress of the people. Then again we notice there seemed to be no connection between and the principles they had and the suffering poor. There was no connection between the God who actually meant for the suffering of the poor. There was no connection. Either in prayer or on daily process, there was no support for that. There was no room for that. That's why Bama was disappointed to a larger extent. It was utter disappointment for her because the idea of becoming a nun was for a different purpose, but it was not there. She couldn't get any opportunity to achieve it. She found she had to search hard to find God in that context. It was difficult. She did not find a love in that convent among those people who declared all the time that God is loving, but there was no love among them. So that is what the gap between the words and deeds, right? They preach of love, they talk of love, but there was no room for love. There was no love for the poor and the humble among them. So they did not even care for the lives of the poor. That's why Mama was not happy with them. They claimed that God's love is limitless. They claimed that God's love is limitless, subject to no conditions. Yet inside the convent, there were innumerable conditions about how one should be and who one is to deserve their love. What do you observe here? With concrete examples, taking individual instances where there was gap between the principles of that religion and the practice of the people who are doing that is put before us. That's how Bama makes a very critical assessment of the people living in that context, right? And then she judged that it was not a right place to achieve her plans and goals. All those people who shouted that God is just and they sing of his just actions, wasn't it? That they all think of his mercy and the compassion in hymns. These things are made in their religious, prayer and all that. Yet there was rampant injustice everywhere. It was injustice, and rampant means widespread, right? And corruption in the convent was also there. Therefore, Bama concludes that there was something wrong in the entire setup of the church. The people at the church, according to her, said that God is forgiving, but their words were barbed like arrows. Isn't it? God forgives us. That means he had compassion towards us and he forgives us, but their words were barbed like arrows, right? Barbed, they were sharp like arrows, pointing and causing wounds to the mind, not just to the body or physical wound, right? The nuns were more interested in enjoying their privileges and luxuries than in serving the poor. Yeah, we were introduced to the luxuries they had already, the rich food they ate, the way their rooms were offered, given to them. Thus, Bama points out to each and every example of the church where it is in no way connected to the service of the poor. Bama was sorely disillusioned, seeing things within, and she could do nothing in the face of the hypocrisy and empty words that the nuns spoke about. Right? She was she was disappointed with that. Right? She was not interested in that kind of hypocrisy that they possessed, and the empty words, right, hollow words that they spoke about devotion, renunciation, the Holy Spirit's, God's vocation, poverty, chastity, obedience. They made lectures, they made sermons on all these things, but there was no practice of these values among them. That's why she found all the things as futile. It went in vain, right? So the church today, according to Bama, is completely different from what Jesus had envisaged, right? So the Jesus Christ envisaged a kind of church, a kind of Christianity in his preachings, but those things are not there today. That is observation Bama makes it here. She wonders how long the church authorities would go on deceiving the poor, right? How do they deceive the people, the poor, in the name of Jesus Christ? That's the thing. Then Dalits, she says, has begun to realize that God is not like this and has not spoken like this. Yeah, the best example is Bama, right? She herself realized that God is not like this. God hasn't spoken all these things. These are the people who, for the sake of their own interests, created, right? She understood in course of time. They have become aware, that they too, Dalits became aware that they too were created in the likeness of God, and they can serve on their own. They don't need any mediator to reach God. That is what Bama's idea here. There is a new strength in them now. The way she is trying to conclude her project, that the status of Dalit as per the religious practices are concerned, religious beliefs are concerned in this part. She says there is a new strength in them, urging them to reclaim that. She's trying to urge the Dalits to reclaim that in a likeness which has so far been repressed, ruined, obliterated, and she to begin to live again with honor, self-respect, and love towards all humankind. That's how she gives a message to Dalits in India and the people in her community, that they should live with honor and self-respect and love towards all humankind. There should be change in their very way of living, according to Bama. Then, thus Bama concludes the 7th chapter by telling, by disclosing, to my mind, this alone is true devotion. What is true devotion? Then, the devotion that has honest devotion, right? Honesty, that's important. Living with the honor and self-respect and love towards all humankind is actually, true devotion. There shouldn't be any, disregard or negligence towards the repressed, ruined, obliterated people, the poor, right? There should be concern for them. Love and compassion should be the basic principle, according to her, in, the basic tenets of true devotion, according to Bama. Thus, this chapter, the last part of this chapter, it reveals Bama's determination to serve the underprivileged and the children who are part of daily torment, right? And also in this part, Bama realized that her role as a nun in the church would not support her aim to support or to serve the people who are in distress. Because the role at the church, the nun's position at the church, actually to safeguard the interest of the wealthy, and that's what the thing she discloses here. And also she says this rational attitude she developed made her probe into the pretense and sham which was widespread in the church and where she started working. Thus, Bama concludes by exposing all that and calling Dalits to have their own stand and their own identity, their own values or practices, and become independent in life. Thus, the chapter concludes by highlighting all these things. Thank you very much for watching this video. We will discuss the next chapter, chapter 8, in the next video. See you.